Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to City Sowers. Today, I am finally going to get around to something that I have been trying to get to for a while now, and that is Pesto Day, because the basil has gone out of control. Now, I started out the season so proud of myself because I was being really good about nipping off the flower heads as they were coming in, keeping them from bolting and all that, but then just life happened and it got out of control, and that's how things go. So one day, I swear, I will get around to harvesting the basil before it bolts. However, just because it has bolted does not mean that it is not usable for pesto. So I have several kinds of basil in the garden. I'm actually going to start with only harvesting one variety today, just because it's so much. I don't want to overwhelm myself. So, oh my goodness, baby goats using my camera stand to scratch their faces. So helpful. But today we're going to harvest just the Italian pesto basil, and we'll kind of see after we harvest that how much we have and if I have time to do another variety. First, it seems I need to refill the goat hay feeder. Look out, guys. Alright, now I can harvest this in peace. Okay, so to try and make a little sense out of this mess, the pesto basil is here. This is the African Newnham basil, which will also be used to make a pesto, but I'm going to make that separately. And then over here is lettuce leaf, and then there's lemon basil in the middle, and Genovese on the end. So, today we're just going to harvest the pesto basil. I'm shaking it just to try and get any unwanted visitors from coming into the house. And my original plan was not actually to be doing this, where I'm harvesting the entire plant all at once. So my original plan was actually to come out here and harvest a part of the plant at a time, but it just didn't happen. And now I'm getting ready for fall planting, so I'm not really planning on keeping this basil around. So I'm pretty much just going to remove the plants. Alright, so now our basil is all harvested. I'm going to get it into the house, and I'm going to just pull all the leaves off the plants, which is going to be a very, very tedious process. So, gotta get going. You know, it's really crazy how out of hand a squash can get. This one was hiding in the foliage. Didn't see it until it was this big. Awesome. But hey, it'll make a mean zucchini bread. Okay, so now I have picked all the leaves off of my pesto basil plant, and I actually ended up with about 3/4 of a 5-gallon bucket full. Granted, that's not packed, that's just fluffed. So what I did was I actually took out, I'm going to do probably about 3 cups of packed basil leaves at a time in my blender, and I measured them out dry and then washed them and put them in a salad spinner, so they're in my salad spinner. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to pack these into the blender along with a cup of olive oil. I'm going to put probably a teaspoon of pepper to start with and go from there and see if I need to add more. I'll probably put in a teaspoon of salt to start, and I'll do 1/3 of a cup of pine nuts as well as a few garlic cloves with each batch. So, pesto is crazy easy. So let's get this stuff in here, and then I can show you guys the magic as it happens. Okay, so my basil leaves have filled my blender up, but I have a blender that has the blades going all the way up, so I can't really pack the leaves down in my blender, but this will still work. All right, so we'll add in our oil, trickle down pine nuts. Don't worry, those will work their way down. And then I think I'm gonna start with, I've got a few cloves in here that are really small, and we really like garlic, so we're gonna go with 5 or 6 of these little bitty guys. And we'll add in our salt and our pepper. And pretty much all of these things are in ratios that you're gonna have to kind of figure out for yourself what your family likes. And so, I mean, it's totally customizable. There's no right or wrong way to do it, really. A lot of recipes will have you add Parmesan cheese, but we actually don't add the cheese to our pesto. All right, here it goes. All right. Now we'll check our consistency. I actually don't plan to use this pesto right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze it in batches. And what I do for that is I actually use these little 2-ounce souffle cups. They're fantastic for using for like a quick meal. I can just throw 1 cup or 2 little cups worth of pesto into a pasta. They're great manageable portions, and they also store really easily. So they will have to freeze flat on a tray to begin with, but after that I usually throw them in a bag, and they're just in a grocery bag in the freezer, and they're ready to go at any time. They're great for packing on trips because they become stackable. It's just really, really handy to have these. So what I usually do is I lay out all my cups on a tray, fill the cups, cap the cups, and then put the tray in the freezer, and then dump them off the tray when they're frozen. So let's get these cups all laid out, and we'll be ready to go on filling them. All this pesto came from the basil that I harvested this morning. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 4, so that's 24 times 2 stacks. It's 48, 49 little cups of pesto. Not bad. Pesto is crazy easy to make, it's delicious, and it's way cheap to make it at home. Granted, the most expensive part about it is the pine nuts that we put in there, but you can easily substitute walnuts in there, or honestly, you could leave them out altogether. Totally up to you, but this is a great home preservation method for all that basil. Hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial today. As always, this is your urban nerd with a goat herd saying that you can grow where you're planted.